Stop apologizing. Stop explaining yourself. Stop shrinking when someone raises their voice at you. What I am about to tell you will permanently rewire how you handle every person who ever tries to make you feel small. And I need to warn you. Once you understand this, you will see every social interaction differently. You will see the invisible war happening around you that you have been losing your entire life without knowing you were even fighting. Someone has made you feel worthless before, maybe yesterday, maybe an hour ago. Maybe you are watching this video because it just happened and the heat is still burning in your chest. They said something, everyone heard it, and you froze, or worse, you stumbled over your words trying to defend yourself. And the more you talked, the smaller you became. I know that feeling of being publicly executed while still breathing. And I am going to show you how to never feel it again. But this is not about comebacks. This is not about being witty. Those videos are useless. By the time you think of something clever to say, the moment has passed, and you're replaying the conversation in the shower, wishing you had said something different. This is about something deeper. This is about becoming someone who cannot be touched. Someone who walks into rooms and changes the temperature. Someone who makes attackers regret opening their mouths before you even respond. Here is what most people do not understand. When someone attacks you publicly, they are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to use you. You are a tool, a stepping stone. They are climbing the social ladder, and they need to push someone down to go up. You have been chosen as the sacrifice. The moment you react with anger or defense or embarrassment, you complete the ritual. You confirm to everyone watching that you are below them. You hand them exactly what they wanted. Your pain becomes their power. But what if you refused? What if the sacrifice stood up from the altar and smiled? What if the ritual failed and everyone watched the priest look like a fool holding an empty knife? That is what I am going to teach you. How to make their weapon disappear in their hands. The first thing you need to understand is that your biology is working against you. This is not a mindset problem. This is a hardware problem. When someone attacks you in front of others, your brain reads it as a survival threat. 10,000 years ago, being shamed by the tribe meant exile. Exile meant death. So your nervous system floods with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing you to fight or run. Your throat tightens. Your face flushes, your mind goes blank or races too fast to catch a single useful thought. This is not weakness. This is ancient programming. The person attacking you is counting on this. They know biology will do the work for them. They just need to land the first strike and your own body will finish the job. You will stutter, you will look away, you will shrink, and they will grow. This is the game, and you have been playing by rules that guarantee you lose. Here is how you override the programming. The moment you feel that heat rising in your neck, you must recognize it for what it is. It is not truth. It is not evidence that you are actually inferior. It is ancient software running on outdated hardware. Your ancestors needed this response to survive the tribe. You do not. When you feel the flush starting, you breathe slowly through your nose. You buy yourself 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, you remind yourself that this is biology, not reality. This person cannot exile you. This person cannot kill you. This person can only take power if you hand it to them. The first technique I'm going to give you is called the black mirror, and it will feel completely unnatural the first time you use it. When someone insults you or tries to humiliate you publicly, you do nothing, absolutely nothing. You do not defend. You do not attack. You do not smile or frown or look away. You become a black mirror. You reflect nothing. You absorb everything. You look directly at them with complete stillness, not aggressive, not afraid, empty. Here is what happens in those 3 seconds of silence. Every person watching expects you to react. When you do not, their attention snaps back to the attacker. The attacker expected resistance. When they get nothing, they feel the ground shift beneath them. Did he hear me? Does he not care? Is something wrong with him? The silence stretches and it becomes unbearable. But here is the key. It is unbearable for them, not for you. You have refused to pick up what they threw at you, so it lands at their feet. And everyone sees it. Most people cannot do this because they are addicted to filling silence. Silence feels dangerous. It feels like losing. But silence is the most aggressive thing you can do. It says, I heard you and I have decided you are not worth responding to. It says, I am the judge here, not you. It says, I am so far above this that I need a moment to decide if I should even acknowledge your existence. Think about the most powerful person you have ever seen handle disrespect. A CEO, a leader, someone with real authority. They do not scramble to defend themselves. They pause. They let the silence do the work. They make you feel like you are being evaluated, not the other way around. This is what you must become. The attacker will often try to fill the silence themselves. They might say, just kidding, or what is wrong with you, or cat got your tongue. This is panic. This is them scrambling to regain control of a frame they just lost. Do not help them. Let them drown in the awkwardness they created. Every word they say while you remain silent digs their grave deeper. They are flailing and everyone can see it. But the black mirror is just the foundation. Sometimes you need to speak. And when you do, you must understand one rule that changes everything. The person who explains is the person who loses. Let me say that again because it is the key to every social conflict you will ever have. The person who explains is the person who loses. When someone accuses you of something and you start defending yourself, you have already accepted their authority to judge you. You have positioned yourself as the defendant and them as the judge. You are in their courtroom playing by their rules. Kings do not explain themselves to peasants. Presidents do not justify themselves to hecklers. The frame you must hold is that their opinion of you is irrelevant, not wrong, irrelevant. There is a massive difference. Wrong means you care enough to disagree. Irrelevant means you do not care at all. So what do you say after the silence? You flip the frame. Instead of addressing what they said, you address why they said it. You treat their attack not as a valid point, but as a symptom of their own problem. You become the psychologist, and they become the patient having an episode. They say, you really embarrassed yourself back there. You tilt your head slightly, like you are examining something curious. And you say, why did you feel the need to say that? Or you say, that was a strange thing to say out loud. Or even simpler, you seem upset about something. Notice what happened. You are no longer talking about your alleged embarrassment. You are talking about their behavior. You have put them under the microscope. They now have to explain themselves. And remember, the person who explains loses. Watch how this works in practice. They attack. You pause. You look at them like a scientist examining a strange bug. And you say something like, I am curious what made you think that was appropriate to say. Or you say, interesting that you felt the need to announce that. You have reframed the entire interaction. You are no longer the accused. You are the observer. You are the one taking notes on their behavior. And suddenly they are the one feeling exposed. There is a more aggressive version of this I call the exposure. When someone attacks, you look at them calmly and say, who are you trying to impress right now? This is devastating because it does three things. First, it shows you are not affected by the insult. Second, it exposes their performance to everyone watching. Third, it forces them to either deny they were performing, which looks defensive, or admit it, which destroys them. There is no good answer. You have trapped them. Another variation is the repeat command. When they say something nasty, you lean in slightly and say, I am sorry, can you repeat that? I want to make sure everyone heard you correctly. This is brutal. Insults only work once. They rely on surprise and rhythm. When you force someone to repeat an insult, it loses all its power. It sounds rehearsed. It sounds petty. Most people will not repeat it. They will crumble. They will say, never mind, or forget it. You have forced them into retreat without raising your voice. But what if they are right? What if you did make a mistake? What if the thing they are pointing out is actually true? Most people think this is the worst case. It is actually the best case. Because you can use something I call the absorption technique. When someone attacks you with truth, you do not deny it. You consume it. You own it so completely that it stops being a weapon. They say you have no idea what you are doing. You smile and say, I never do, and yet things keep working out. They say you are arrogant. You say, I know it is probably my best quality. They say you always show up late. You say, I prefer to think of it as making an entrance. When you agree with an attack, you take the knife out of their hand. They expected you to resist. Your resistance is what gives the attack power. When you absorb it with amusement, you show that you are not ashamed of yourself. And if you are not ashamed, no one can shame you. Let me show you why this works psychologically. An insult is a trap. It assumes you will resist. Your resistance creates tension. That tension is what makes the insult entertaining for the audience. But when you agree with it, you release all the tension. There is nothing to watch. The trap springs but catches nothing. The attacker is left holding a weapon that just became useless. They feel foolish, and you look unbreakable. This requires something most people do not have. It requires genuine self-acceptance, not fake confidence, not pretending you have no flaws, real acceptance of your flaws. If you are hiding from something about yourself, that thing becomes a target. Anyone who discovers it can destroy you with it. But if you have already faced it, if you have already accepted it, they have no ammunition. They are shooting blanks at someone wearing armor made of self-awareness. Now let me show you something that most people completely miss. The attack is not about you. It is about the audience. The attacker does not care about you. You are a prop. They care about how they look to everyone else. They want witnesses to their dominance. So the real battle is not between you and the attacker. The real battle is for the perception of the crowd. Most people try to win over the attacker. They try to make the attacker stop or change their mind. This is wasted energy. The attacker is your enemy. You do not negotiate with enemies. You neutralize them by winning everyone else. And you do not win crowds with words. You win crowds with energy. People worship calm. When someone is yelling at you and you remain completely unshaken, the audience instinctively shifts to your side, not because they like you, because you look like the leader. You look like the one in control. The attacker looks unstable, emotional, desperate. There is a technique I call the silent alliance. When someone attacks, you do not look at them immediately. Look at someone else in the group first. Make brief eye contact with a third party. Raise your eyebrows slightly. Give a tiny smirk that says, "Can you believe this person?" You have just created an alliance with the audience against the attacker. You have made the attacker the outsider, the weirdo, the one who is trying too hard. And trying too hard is social death. This must be subtle. If you do it too, obviously you look petty. But if you do it right, just a glance and a micro-expression, you communicate volumes without saying a word. You tell the audience, I am one of you. He is not. We are normal. He is strange. This triggers something deep in human psychology. We are tribal creatures. We instinctively want to be on the side of calm, high-status individuals. By remaining composed while they lose control, you become that person. But there are some people that none of this works on. Energy vampires. People who feed on any reaction. Negative attention is still attention, and they are starving for it. These people require something I call deletion. You do not fight them. You do not outmaneuver them. You erase them from existence. They speak, and you continue your conversation with someone else as if a gust of wind just blew through the room. You do not look at them. You do not acknowledge that sound came out of a human mouth. If they are right in front of you, you look past them at something behind their head, like they are transparent. This is not the silent treatment. The silent treatment is emotional. It says, you hurt me, so I am not talking to you. Deletion is clinical. It says, my brain does not register you as a relevant life form. This is the difference between pouting and genuine indifference. One gives them power. The other removes their existence. This triggers something primal in them. Being ignored is more painful than being attacked. Attack acknowledges existence. Deletion denies it. Studies have shown that social rejection activates the same parts of the brain as physical pain. When you delete someone, you are causing them real suffering without lifting a finger or saying a word. They will escalate. They will get louder. They will say worse things. Let them. The more desperate they become while you remain oblivious, the more insane they look to everyone watching. They will destroy themselves. You just have to give them enough silence to do it. Eventually, they will either give up, or they will escalate to a point where they embarrass themselves completely. Either way, you win by doing nothing. Now here is where everything I just told you becomes useless. If your identity is fragile, if you do not actually believe in your own value, they will smell it. Techniques are masks, and masks slip. Micro-expressions never lie. If you are trembling inside while trying to look calm, the predators will sense it and they will keep attacking. You must build something I call the internal fortress, a sense of self so solid that external opinions bounce off like rain off stone. This requires shadow work. You must face every single thing you are ashamed of, your failures, your body, your past, your secrets. Bring them into the light. Look at them, accept them, because the only things people can hurt you with are the things you are hiding from yourself. If you hide nothing, you become untouchable. Think about what shame actually is. It is letting a stranger audit your worth, someone who does not know your story, does not know your struggles, does not know where you came from or where you are going. You hand them a clipboard and ask them to grade you, and when they give you a low score, you believe them. Why? Why does their opinion carry more weight than your own? They have known you for 5 minutes. You have known yourself for your entire life, and yet you trust their evaluation more than yours. When you truly know yourself, nothing anyone says can move you. If someone calls a lion a mouse, the lion does not get offended. The lion knows it is a lion. Your goal is to reach a state of self-knowledge so unshakable that insults become funny, not painful, funny, because they are so disconnected from reality that they are absurd. When you reach this state, you will actually enjoy when someone tries to attack you. It becomes entertainment, a chance to watch them fail. Here is an exercise. Write down every single thing you are ashamed of, everything you hope no one ever finds out, everything you hide. Now look at each item and ask yourself, so what? I failed at that thing. So what? I have this flaw. So what? This happened to me. So what? Keep asking so what until you reach the bottom. You will find that most shame dissolves when you stop running from it. Let me give you the complete framework. Stage 1 is biological override. When you feel the heat rising, you recognize it as ancient programming, not truth. You breathe slowly. You buy yourself 3 seconds before reacting. Stage 2 is the black mirror. You go still. You absorb without reflecting. You let silence do the work. Stage 3 is frame flip. If you speak, you put them under examination, not yourself. You become the psychologist. Stage 4 is absorption. If they are right, you own it with amusement. You steal their weapon. Stage 5 is audience capture. You win the crowd with unshakable calm. You create silent alliances. Stage 6 is deletion. For vampires, you remove their existence from your reality completely. Stage 7 is the internal fortress. You do the shadow work so nothing can penetrate. This is not about winning arguments. This is about becoming someone who does not need to win arguments because you have already won before anyone opens their mouth. The energy you carry into a room determines everything. When you stop fearing conflict, you start attracting respect. When you stop needing approval, you start commanding attention. When you stop explaining yourself, people start assuming you have nothing to explain. There is a reason powerful people speak slowly. There is a reason they pause before responding. There is a reason they seem unbothered by chaos around them. It is not an act. They have internalized everything I just told you. They know that reactions give power away. They know that composure is dominance. They know that the person who cares least controls the frame. Most people will watch this and nod, and then the next time someone attacks them, they will freeze and stutter and shrink just like before. They will not do the shadow work. They will not practice the silence. They will not face their shame. They are addicted to their own weakness. They prefer the familiar pain of being a victim to the unfamiliar work of becoming untouchable. But you are different. I know because you are still here. Most people clicked away when I told them their biology was being used against them. Most people do not want to hear that they have been losing a game they did not know they were playing. You stayed. That tells me something about you that you might not even see in yourself yet. You are ready to become dangerous. Not dangerous in a way that hurts people, dangerous in a way that makes people understand they cannot hurt you. Dangerous in a way that changes how you walk into rooms and how people look at you when you do. The kind of dangerous that makes manipulators choose someone else. The kind of dangerous that makes bullies suddenly remember they have somewhere else to be. This was defense, the ability to neutralize anyone who tries to lower your status. But there is another level, offense, the ability to make people want to follow you, to elevate your status without anyone realizing you are doing it. To play the invisible game that high-status people have always played, while everyone else wonders why some people just seem to have it. That is coming. If you want to see it, you know what to do. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video where we go deeper into the architecture of power. This is not the end. This is where it begins.